Hey guys, how's it going?
Really good, mate. Really good. Lovely to be back with you again.
Yeah, it's been a
Dude,
while.
it's been forever. I feel like we as a group haven't been able to like talk in forever, and so let's just jump right into it. The thing that brings us kind of together for this particular interview is something that's kind of near and dear to I do believe all of our hearts, which is the subject
Agreed.
of DKU. And so over the last, I would say probably few years, DKU has kind of become one of these figureheads in social media. His social media is blown up and he's done really well for himself there. But there's always been something like a little off in terms of that. And one thing that people always call him out for, myself included, is that he's teaching martial arts, but he's never actually been in a fight. And I'm one of those people where I truly believe that if you're going to teach something, you should have at least done it once. And so
Okay.
now, fast forward, and Brad has a fight set up with DKU. And so what I want to do with you guys is just go down that path of how we got to here. So I'll start with you, Joe. How did you guys in general learn about DKU and what's your history with him?
Well, about 2.5 years ago, obviously we had another YouTube channel, which sadly got deleted from YouTube, but we started talking about DKU on that channel. We very much did like what you do. We Bushido busted, we find fake martial artists, we did some reviews, had a little bit of a laugh. Brad thinks that what he does, there's some technique advantages to some of his stuff, but exactly as you said, he doesn't train, he doesn't fight properly. So we basically said, unless you're willing to do that, you're kind of null and void. A year goes on, we then start messaging him, talking to him on his Instagram and things like that, getting loads of hate from his fans. And then he then announced that he was going to be fighting Zhu Xiaodong after 2.5 years of us and yourself gradually nagging and niggling away at him. And eventually also his fans then started to listen to us. They want to see him perform. They want to see him use his technique. So his own fans convinced him he needs to fight, which is the best thing which we could have possibly asked for. And then he called out the Zhu Xiaodong fight. We knew that was never going to happen. We recorded a shout out or a few months ago. Yeah, this was September 22nd. I filmed Brad in the gym, basically just saying, DKU, if you want it, come get it. We sat on that call out for 56 days? And then there was only 19 days until the fight. And he messaged Brad saying, yeah, we need someone to fight.
Well, I'd be curious. I actually toss this one to you, Brad. So what was your initial thought when you heard that him and Zhu Xiaodong actually had a fight set up?
Well, unfortunately, I'm quite into politics sometimes, not the best there. And I realized, I realized quite quickly that there's the social credit system. He was being punished. So I said to Joe, he's never allowed to leave that country. He has to drive, but he can't leave the country. So the fight's off. So I said, why don't we just sell just for the shits and gigs? Can we swear?
Yeah.
We can swear?
Yeah, by all means, do it. I do it all the time.
Fuck for that. So we thought, I said, Joe, you know what, fuck it. I'll call him out. Thinking nothing of it. I knew full well he was thinking that whole time there was no one else that called him out. And he waited till I was on a holiday with my papa, drinking a cocktail with half a cigar hanging out my mouth. And then he messaged me saying, hello, Mr. Bradley Scott. I can read the messages out word for word. Would you like me to do that?
Yeah, actually, I'm curious if you'd like, and it's feel free to send those screenshots this way as well, and then I can post them up.
Yeah, we will do.
There's always
I'll
those.
read out to you right now, mate.
Yeah, I'd be highly curious what he had to say because I actually have some messages from him as well that I think people would be interested in.
I think yours are probably more funny, but he tried to say that also that Brad's been trolling him. He did an interview with the Korean TV and he said, that Brad had been trolling him in the DMs.
You ready?
Well, that's not true. I know that's not true, but
No.
yeah, I'm ready to hear it for sure.
You ready? Hello, Mr. Bradley Scott. This is DKU. As if I didn't fucking plot.
Yes, if you didn't know.
I want to talk to you. Hello, sir. How are you? Spelt wrong. Are you looking for an opponent as I'm ready to go? And I sent her a picture of me sipping a cocktail with a fag out my mouth. He goes, I am good, yes. Can you come to Korea? I'm glad you're well in training. Oh, fuck yeah. Good. Yeah, boy.
And that's
And then I sent in my email address, which is blah, 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 blah. I said, message with Message the details across to the email address. We can go. Perfect. Message to Fight Bubble, please. I'm on holiday, as you can see. He has a better understanding of travel arrangements, etc. Okay, my staff will send an email to you. Many Korean people want to see you in Korea. Amazing, thank you. Tell them to be as quick as fuck, as I might have to quarantine for 10 days.
Yeah, we were worried about that as well.
And then this one, then I read out a number of what he offered me, and I said, "You cheeky cunt, I wouldn't get out of bed for that. Sort your shit out." And then he said, "What is this?" I said, "Laugh aloud, for fuck's sake, deal with Joe." So that was all I said to him.
And then I guess
Yeah,
you
well, we
handled the
both know
rest.
he likes to lowball the offers as well.
Fuck you.
So I want to add to that because, we were talking about messages and stuff like that. And I know for a fact that he did not have opponent set up as a replacement for Xu Xiaodong, which, if you're going to be even at an amateur level, the promoter would already have a replacement ready. Like the matchmaker would already have somebody in the wings ready to go, because that happens in the fight game. But at a professional level, to not have a replacement and try to get one last minute yourself is, first of all, it's disrespectful. But second of all, it lets you know that that's somebody who's never actually fought before, because that's a very much a day one mistake. And so a lot of the things that he had said really did irritate me to the core. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend I don't have a bias, because I know he's a liar. I watched him lie to his followers for a very long time when he knew Xu Xiaodong was not going to fight. Like Brad said, Xu Xiaodong has been restricted by the government. The government announced months and months and months ago, well before this fight was even something they were thinking about, that they were no longer issuing new passports and they were restricting entrance and exit of the country. And so even if Xu Xiaodong wasn't being ostracized by the Chinese government, which he is, he still probably wouldn't have been able to get out because his passport was expired and they would have not renewed it anyway. And so when I look at how this chain of events has happened, the only thing I can truly think is that DK Yoo was well aware that he was going to need a last minute opponent. And rather than getting those wheels in motion to allow his opponent a full training camp, he purposely waited to the very last minute, because he knew there were so many people that were willing to rip his face off that they wouldn't say no just for the sake of being able to get into the ring. Go ahead.
He's given me technically 1 week to train. And I haven't trained in 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. I smoke, I drink a lot. So I'm still quite confident. I'd like to know what would happen if it was an MMA fight and I had super good, even just 6 weeks.
I'm curious though, because Xu Xiaodong, I keep saying Xu Xiaodong, he's stuck in my head. The man's a legend. Leave him out of this. I keep saying DK Yoo, in terms of what he's been trying to do. All of his fans and his followers continue to say like he's this well-rounded martial artist and that he can do anything. But yet when he gets the opportunity to get a real fight, and he always has said that he wants to fight a UFC fighter out of his own mouth. I want to fight a UFC fighter. Well, one has been calling him out for a very long time, Brad. And then all of a sudden he wants a boxing match, and which he continued to call a special match for a very long time and would not.
Yeah, I was wondering what the rule set was going to be for that.
I got a feeling I know why the rules are different, by the way, as well, Rob.
I'd be curious. So what are the rules?
Well, because it says pro boxing rules, right? Yeah, I'm wearing can I say that?
Yeah.
I'm wearing 14-ounce gloves. He's wearing 10s because of the weight difference. Now, anyone that trains knows that's a big difference. Another thing, he keeps saying how he's going to use his special 0-inch punch technique, which is a push. You can't push in boxing. Also, when he throws his right hooks, he backhands afterwards, which is also illegal in boxing.
So he's training moves
which you can't use.
Now, do you think that, because it's promoted through Triller, and
no, it's not Triller anymore. It was Triller originally, and now it's Fight TV and a Korean company whose logo I can barely read is like something or other. But Triller were originally involved when the first poster was made for Xu Xiaodong. It was Triller, Fight TV, and something else, plus the WCS Warfare Combat System, DK Yoo's own promotion. And then Triller disappeared around about the same time Xu Xiaodong dropped out.
Well, yeah, I sent them a message actually. I asked them, I was like, why are y'all continuing? Because this was well after it had been announced Xu Xiaodong wasn't going to fight, and they still put up a post anyway. And I said, why are you still promoting a fight that is clearly not going to happen? I mean, that makes you look bad as a promoter. Like usually there are alternative posters, alternate promotions.
Maybe that's why they dropped out.
Maybe. I think that that's a solid
Maybe
point.
they asked him the question and was like, oh, okay. Maybe that's why.
So now that everything is set up, regardless of all the other things, the fight is now officially going to happen. I mean, I'm assuming you guys have already signed paperwork at this point.
We haven't got the full contract over to them yet, purely because the one they sent us looked like it was written by a child. It was from DK Yoo's own office, and it was more like a seminar contract than a fight contract. Okay. It was missing a lot of the professional terms, little things like if there is a result of an injury after the fight, who covers medical expenses? Little things like that, you know, like his insurance for an event promoter should cover the fighters in case of an injury. And there was nothing like that in the contract. So we've added in a couple of clauses. We're sending it over to management to get it proofread and finalized. But it's pretty basic. Like there's nothing in there about shirts and shorts, who wears what, groin guards, whether we're allowed to wear like a diamond guard or do we have to wear a full waistband style boxing outfit.
In boxing, you're meant to wear the whole bladder protector.
Yeah, for sure. Now,
there's nothing in there about that. There's nothing in there about equipment we have to bring as well, or what they will provide. Because obviously, like, I'm not going to fly to Korea with a bucket, for instance.
Yeah.
So there's things like that which aren't in the fight contract, which we've now added in that they have to provide pretty much everything on the fight side of things.
Especially for such last minute notice, they definitely should cover all that stuff. I mean, it's I'm curious, Brad. So obviously, I think that Joe and Brad, I think you guys are kind of like a yin and yang kind of team. I think that Joe, I think that, you know, when it comes down to your style, I think you're a lot more aggressive verbally, whereas Brad, I think you're a little bit more quiet, and I think you let your fist do the talking most of the time. And I think that that winds up being a great chemistry between you two guys. But you guys are about to have to go to Korea, and y'all are going to be doing a press conference. So I'd be curious how you will handle that, Brad, and what your thoughts are when you first finally meet this guy, if you had any choice words or something like that you'd like to say.
I got a few choice words.
They might need to be censored afterwards.
They might be some. I'm going to learn how to say pussy in Korean first, but no, but I tried learning something. Mate, I'm actually a pretty quick-witted shithouse talker anyway. And I am going to wind him up a little bit, but nothing nasty, just a bit of friendly banter. Do you know what I mean? Not going to get in his face and smash him, because I'm sure there'll be a clause in the contract whereby hit him, he gets all the money after we fight or something.
Yeah.
And I said he will not have it. I will not lay a single finger on him.
Well, we don't even know if there's a weigh-in or face-off. They haven't given us a schedule of anything that's happening when we get there. We don't even technically know what time we have to arrive at wherever the fight is. We haven't even given an address. But they
you don't even know where the fight is.
Everything else.
Nope, don't even know where the fight is.
Nope.
Oh wow, that's fucking weird.
It's in a gym, I think.
Yeah.
It's in a gym now, which suits me because I do that every fucking day.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that'd be like
God. Yeah, it's like I've got no anxiety from the crowd, but I also wanted DK Yoo to have anxiety. It would have been the first time he's ever had a crowd on him. He's ever had people baying for blood. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, rather than just sitting waiting for the clap, watching him punch his own comrades in the chest.
Apparently, most Koreans think that I'm going to finish him within a round, according to.
What was it on?
I'll show you now because I forgot his fucking name.
Was it?
I can't fucking read that.
The journalist which did the interview with DK a week ago.
It's like a man with a flat line for a head, a back to front question mark with a line underneath it, the number 2 of a line underneath it. And it means Chador MMA.
Okay, so yeah, so the journalist which done the last interview with DK has messaged Brad saying, you know, can we have a little interview with you, yada, yada, yada. But he's also said that the Korean fans, fight fans, believe that they won't last around, whereas DK's fans think that DK will be in the UFC in a year. Be a UFC champion in a year.
With no amateur fights,
Yep.
not doing an
No
MMA
ground
fight.
game.
No ground game.
No
Um,
wrestling.
yeah, that's never gonna fucking happen. I think,
A wrestler would beat him.
in all honesty,
Wrestler.
I feel really bad for his followers. I really do. Mostly because I feel like they're being taken advantage of by something I see a dime a dozen every day, which is someone who is trying to portray themselves as something they're not. If
Yeah.
you want to be like, let's say you're in DK Yoo shoes and you want to go out and do seminars and martial arts stuff, that's okay. If you want to go teach your own system, that doesn't bother me either. But the moment that you start going on televised events and you start doing these publicity tours, I guess you could say, where you're on these hour-long interviews with major news outlets, and you start saying random things like Conor McGregor stole the shoulder check from you,
Yeah.
saying that you'd fight anybody in the UFC, but then dodge UFC fighters, saying that you want to be in the UFC or that's a goal of yours, but then never taking any amateur fights, never having any grappling tournaments, never putting yourself in the heat of competition. You kind of have to start to wonder, and I do anyway, if it's an honest delusion. Like if he is really that deluded.
100%. It's an honest delusion, but also someone with his ego wouldn't want to fight on an amateur show. He just won't want to do it. He won't want to be the undercard guy who's there with a 0-0 record and may lose to a nobody. He thinks he's too good for that. And that's the problem.
Well, that's just never going to happen. That's not how this works. You have to cut your teeth at a lower level and work your way up. And that's how it has always been, unless you are the most famous son of a bitch on the planet. And so at that point, then you get basically a celebrity match. But at that point, this is his choice. He's choosing to take a boxing match instead of an MMA match. And I think that that's because he is scared, honestly, my opinion, not necessarily have to look like you guys, but I think that he is truly scared of all of his shortcomings. And he is aware that when those things get put on display, that he'll be called out for it. But now he'll have the opportunity, if he loses, to say, well, I wasn't allowed to do this or that. Like, bitch, you literally set up the rule set. Like, you did what you were allowed to do.
The thing is, I was a striker in martial arts anyway.
1 second, we got someone at the
Someone at the front door. What's your predictions, bro?
Well, my prediction, in all honesty, there is a experience difference by a lot. I've seen you spar, like really spar. I've seen you actually fight. I think that his style is very counterproductive to your style. I think that your style is a lot more aggressive in terms of getting the job done. I think that he is a counter fighter, but in order to be a counter fighter and you're losing I think, what is it, at least 50 pounds difference or something like that. He would have to be
about that. Well, probably be about 40 by the time fight day.
Yeah, something like that, right? But him being down that much weight and the way that he spars as being a counter striker against guys who aren't actually trying to hit him, that doesn't
counter striker thing is hilarious.
Well, it doesn't.
Counter striker basically means he's going to get punched before he can punch someone.
If you're like, for instance, let's talk about some great counter fighters, right? Let's talk about somebody like Izzy, or let's talk about somebody like Muhammad Ali, or you talk about somebody like Willie Pep, or you talk about somebody like Rocky Marciano was very aggressive, but you start talking about these Anderson Silva, probably one of the greatest counter fighters of all time. The ability to read a shot, let it barely touch him, and then just rock him. The reason that works is because he has ass behind the shot. Like that people will respect your space at that point because I have missed, you've made me pay. Do I want to miss again? That's not going to work if it doesn't hurt when you hit me. You know what I'm saying? And so like,
agreed.
I've seen him hit mitts and I've seen him hit pads and I've seen him spar at this point.
I haven't seen him hit pads.
I've seen him hit pads.
I haven't seen him hit pads before.
Yeah, I've seen, well, I mean, as much as he hits pads, which is usually one-off shots. But when you're dealing with
pads on the chest.
Yeah, for sure. But when you're talking about like an actual fight, there is a night and day difference between sparring and fighting. And so when you spar, you can tiptoe, you can tap, you can touch your partner, you can enjoy that session. But when someone's being aggressive and they just start laying the fucking leather on your face, you find out what you're made of very quickly. And since he's never been through that storm, you will literally find out how he reacts in that moment, because I don't think it's ever happened to him before. And to have that learning curve on the fly, the first time you've ever fought, in my opinion, it is 100% lopsided. In my opinion, I think it's 90-10. I think there's a 90% chance statistically that you would win this fight. I think there's a 10% chance that he would win this fight based off of blind luck, random bullshit that could happen before the fight. You could slip and hurt your ankle on the walk up, you know. But
I think that's more of a 99.999% chance than if he's relying on miracles from God.
I'm basically an analyst. That's what I do. I look at things and I figure out what the stats are and what the percentage chances of things working are. And I've seen every video he has ever put out, because it's what I do. And when I've seen those videos, I have not seen anything conducive to an actual fight. And that might look good. It might look good on a demonstration. It might look cute. It's very Bruce Lee. He's obviously trying to emulate Bruce Lee. He wants that to be his persona, and that's fine. But one thing we also know about Bruce Lee, no disrespect to him, is that he wasn't a fighter either. And so if you're going to emulate that and you're going to try to one up that and go, well, I'm Bruce Lee, but I also fought, it's going to be, I also got my ass whooped one time. And so that's how I see it going. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am.
No, I think you're bang on the money, mate.
Do you think he believes he can win?
I think 100% he is deluded enough to believe that. But also, if there's a chance that he doesn't believe it, then I think read your contract, because I think that most likely he will try to find a way to spin it in a positive light for himself no matter what. But at the end of the day,
there's nothing in there. There's nothing in there.
He's already mentioned his injuries left, right, center. Injured knee.
I think that's why. No, I don't think he's injured shoulder. His management said that he has a bad knee, which is why he probably doesn't want to throw kicks. But which is why I think he's probably gone boxing. But all of his fanboys are saying he should be doing boxing. Isn't for the streets. The best phrase in Bushido, for the streets. But if you can't beat someone that's only trying to punch you in the face, how would you defend against them who's trying to take you down, kick you in the face, and snap you in half and choke you unconscious? How are you able to? What makes you any better that you can't beat a boxer, but you can beat an MMA guy?
Yeah, for sure.
It doesn't work like that.
I do have a question for you, Brad. So, like, obviously, you're the man in the arena, right? So you're going to be the guy who's going to be in there with your sword and shield, and you're representing basically to say you can beat this man. And I agree that you can beat this man. So when you beat this man, what is the ultimate goal that you'd like to have as an outcome? Because you guys have been calling him out for a long time. So what would you like to have happen as a result because of the loss or his loss?
Technically, Joe was the one that's been calling him out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah, because I told him to call him out.
Okay, I got you. So,
I'm the puppet master behind.
Well, let's go ahead and make sure that gets clarified right here. All right, so let's just make sure that gets clarified for everybody who's watching or anyone who decides to watch, especially fanboys of DK Yoo, is that
of course,
Brad has not been calling him out. He's obviously wanted the fight, though. The opportunity was there. You decided.
The opportunity was there. Absolutely.
So we'll say Joe has been the one who's been talking the shit, and Brad will be the man in the arena. So just to clarify, and then when it comes down to it, though, what would you like as a result of this?
To be honest with me, I genuinely don't want to hurt him. Like, I don't want to maim him or anything like that. Well, I don't want to blind him. I don't mind folding a few ribs in. You know, not punctured lung. You know, a couple of maybe slight broken jaw. But basically, I just want to. My outcome is I just want to show, like, for all I know, he could beat me if he does. Tip my hat off to him.
Yeah, he'd have to pull something serious.
He'd have to be well. I like the way he has got me now at the weakest in my entire career. Right, I'm currently injured. Just come off holiday. I had a car crash 3.5 weeks ago. I did not knock him out. I've lost all, got a few injuries. And I'm still confident I'm going to beat him. All I've done so far for training
3 days.
3 days training. Is it in 3 days?
Yeah,
So 3 days today.
Wednesday. You start Monday.
Yeah. So we've done 3 days of training. That's it.
But dude, your training is still there. Like, watching you light up pro boxers in 30-40% sparring like 60% speed, 30% impact. But that shows also your level of ability to be able to control that power.
Yeah,
DK Yoo can't control power. All of his punches are thrown at 100% because he can't downgrade yet because he hasn't physically learned how to do that.
Another thing I noticed with DK Yoo in his sparring partners are not aiming for his face.
Agreed.
If you don't believe me, watch right now.
Yeah, Rob said.
I agree. We were talking about it
Aim
earlier.
on.
Is that he keeps posting, videos with people who have accolades, I guess, real fighters. And so when they're moving around, I noticed one of the guys that he was sparring with was only throwing a jab, and was not actually trying to hit him with that jab. And so that's personally, if I was his coach, if he does have a coach, which I doubt it, because I don't know if his narcissism will allow that. But if I was his coach, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, first of all, don't put that shit online. And second of all, you need to have this guy hit you. It doesn't have to be light sparring. I mean, and also if you have a match coming up, right, and he's never had a fight before, and he's working with these guys who are such a higher level than him, accidents happen. I would tell him to put a fucking headgear on. It's because like at the end of the day, these guys never had a fight. And so all of this is fresh and new. And all it takes is one mistake to create the cut or create the eye poke that doesn't heal quite right. And so I'm a little dumbfounded by his training methods, but at the end of the day, he's a grown-ass man. If that's how he wants to represent himself, he's more than welcome to do so. But at fight day, that's going to show that there is a humongous hole in what he is teaching other people. And my only stake, by the way, in this game is I feel he is doing people a disservice. I truly, in my heart, feel he's doing people a disservice by teaching people things that are not battle-tested, that he seems to have made up. And he seems
I don't think he trains people to fight. He doesn't train people to fight at all. What he does, if you watch any of his seminar videos, it's him lecturing a group of people that are usually sat down, demonstrating the stuff which they actually want to see. They want to learn the 1-inch punch. They want to learn this flicky random rubbish because it looks good in the pub or at their Bushido school. They aren't learning to fight. It's fantasy-based martial arts. It's LARPing. It's live-action role-play. They are playing the part of a martial artist. They are not playing the part of a fighter. He won't lose any fans after this fight. Well, none of his fans care that he can't fight.
No, of course. I want to toss this out.
If they didn't care, they wouldn't watch him or they wouldn't follow him. They wouldn't suck up to him the way they do.
Well, I'll toss you guys this. This is actually for both of you guys. So, Brad, I'll let you go first and then Joe. But, obviously at this point, he has agreed officially to have a fight. So me personally, I give him the respect for actually doing that. He doesn't have to. He could have continued to not do that. So kudos to him. I'll give him that. And people tend to think I don't give respect where respect is due, but most motherfuckers don't watch to the end of my videos anyway. So they miss that part. But at the end of the day, I give him the respect of stepping in the ring. That is not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do, especially the perpetuation of his image by this point and never had a fight. That would have to be even harder because my first fight was when I was like 12. And so I can't imagine for building this aura and persona. And then in my fucking 30s or 40s, I guess he's in his 30s, just so going, you know what? I'll prove it to you. And so I give him the respect of that. But I'd be curious, what do you guys think? Like, one, do you give him the respect of stepping in the ring? And two, do you think it's too little too late? Or do you think that, win, lose, or draw, you're going to tip your hat to him? What are your thoughts, Brad?
Honestly, it takes balls to get in there no matter what. I mean, my first fight was terrifying. To be honest with you, now I'm not even fighting in front of an audience, but just in front of a live screen. Or sorry, it's being filmed live. I think that would help him out a bit more because if that was in front of a crowd, I think that would have gone straight to his head and he would have panicked. Yeah, he's done demonstrations of moves in front of 300 people. Never sparred in front of 300 people. He's never even had a real fight. So I do respect him for that. But he's going to be in for a reality check when he tries to. When I don't stand in front of him and let him do his, I'll be moving, even if it's slowly just moving, boom, 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 boom. And I hit pretty hard too. So
just a bit.
He'll do well to take it if he gets hit 3 times.
Yeah, I can't see it going down very well. It's a funny one because respect, I believe, has to be earned. And yes, him stepping into the ring is it's
earn it.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think it does, because I think anyone can step into the ring. Anyone can say, I want to be a fighter. Hell, I've seen a guy with sinful arms this big climb into a ring. I've seen, remember that there was a woman that, you know, she was like a Karen. She thought she could fight. She stepped into the ring against an actual female MMA fighter. Got the crap kicked out of her. It didn't make her look good, and it didn't gain her any respect. It just made her look stupid. So I think DK Yoo, like you said the N-word, narcissist. He believes his own hype. And if you believe your own hype, nothing is impossible, including stepping into the boxing ring and still believing your own rubbish.
See, I think I'm on the same page with Brad with this, is that
Yeah.
I do give him a nod for stepping in.
Yeah, I give him a nod.
He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. So at the end of the day, but that's the only.
I think he does have to.
But not really. I mean, you know how many frauds I deal with that never fight, you know, and they make hands over fist money. I do agree with the money thing. I think that's why
seminars, he hasn't done a single seminar in 18 months.
Well, I think when it comes down to his
potentially
the money thing, obviously it's a money play. I'm not going to sit there and say that it's not.
Yeah, it's a money play.
But that was the reason that he lied to his followers for so long, even though he knew Xu Xiaodong wasn't going to be there, is because he knew more people would buy if Xu Xiaodong was the guy. Which is fine. You know, at the end of the day, I called him out as a liar. I still think that he's a liar. I don't give him any respect whatsoever for lying to his people. But you know what? Fuck it. He's going to be in the ring now. And so now the proof will be in the pudding. And so in all honesty, man, I just really have a hard time foreseeing it get out of the first round, depending on how he is defensive. I think if he runs and just zigzags throughout the fucking ring and tries to get away, I mean, I don't know how much he knows about cutting a corner of a ring or how to defend that. But if he doesn't have a good ring awareness, he's going to get mauled. But you know, if not, he might be able to just run away. That would probably behoove him. But when it comes down to it, I've tried
to run away before. I've tried to run away against this man before. It doesn't work.
In a ring, it's very difficult to run away.
As soon as you take 2 steps to the left, you're in a corner. Brad stays in the center. He takes a step forward. You're back into the corner. You now have no escape to the left, and he'll have no escape to the left, which means Brad baited him onto his right hand. Yeah, Brad takes 1 step right.
And I can't imagine he would have the wherewithal to have good ring generalship or to understand the you know, when it's time to pivot, when it's time to turn, when it's time to stay in the pocket. I don't see it, but who fucking knows? Maybe he'll just pull out some shit I've never seen before, but I fucking doubt it. Now
that's what they were saying, his partners.
Yeah,
that he moves. I've never seen anyone move like this as a professional boxer.
Yeah, because they don't move like that. Because it doesn't work.
You don't fight, don't do that.
Man, I'm sorry, but if you throw
a guy who doesn't,
and then you whip it back across someone's face, that's why it doesn't work. It's mad.
Hey, it's at the end of the day, man. It's, you know, he's made his decision. Everything is good to go. You guys will be out there. I fucking wish I was there. Oh my God.
We're grateful for the opportunity. We really are.
Yeah.
We're grateful for the opportunity.
I'm going to go to South Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's
cool, an amazing place to go.
You get a trip.
Favorite kind of women as well.
Oh man. I didn't know you were into the Korean ladies, but hey, now you're going to be in a hotbed.
Yeah.
So
fucking balls deep, forget my way.
Now, obviously, this fight will end. And once this fight ends, win, lose, or draw, there will be some backlash from both sides. There'll be people, and I'm playing the hypothetical game here, but let's say hypothetically he wins. Obviously, his fan base is going to be all over that, and it'll just blow his head up, and that will elevate him. And then, obviously, at that point, you're just going to have to be like, yo, I got to give you some respect for that because you went in there.
And then as soon as you do that, we'll be back to normal again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a bit like the Jake Paul, Ben Askren, Tyron Woodley thing. The amount of people which had Ben Askren and Tyron Woodley down to win, and Jake Paul, he doesn't stand a chance. One, they don't know that Jake Paul was training for 2 to 3 years, solid boxing and sport boxing. It wasn't just hitting a bag. Just like, oh, I can do this, or he was actually sparring, he was training hard. And nobody has really spoken much about Ben Askren and Tyron Woodley since. They've just disappeared off, shut their mouth, kept it quiet, carry on doing what they're doing. So, honestly, would we probably do the same? I guess we'd have to. I guess we'd have to swallow our pride and go again.
But now, if you win, how does that go?
We're not going to be big-headed.
No.
The one thing we're just going to say, look, like we appreciate what he's done. We're not gonna get.
Yeah.
You are fine.
I might.
Look, we're not doing any of that stuff.
Well-
We're going to be very respectful. Right, what I'm going to try and do is win all DKU fans, all those 450,000 subscribers. I'm going to get them to shift over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, like that's first of all, it's very sportsmanlike of you because
I am very sportsman.
Yeah.
yeah,
like-
which is great. And so I think that that's
You're a
awesome.
professional athlete.
I think more people need to hear shit like that, is because I think that they assume something maybe different from you guys. And the fact is that, you know, like we talked about earlier, you guys are night and day different. You're not the same people. And so I think that at the end of the day, like you're going to be in there. And I think that you showing that you're willing to be sportsmanlike and respectful and stuff like that is great. On the other hand, I fucking love when Joe gets on a rant and fucking rips into his ass, because I also believe that he's a fraud and should be called out. So it's like, I like both
absolutely,
of those
right.
things.
I
And
think
I
it depends
don't-
on how the fight goes.
And I
I'm
don't
going to hit him hard.
say that again.
I'm going to hit him very hard.
Yeah, I imagine
ain't
that. So,
Very
But-
hard.
but this is great, man. And, you know, first of all, I appreciate you guys taking the time to come in and chit chat. The fight is December
Anytime.
4th, right?
Yeah. It'd be December. Yeah, it'd be 4th for you at about 11 in the evening.
Okay.
For us in the UK, it's 3 a.m. Sunday morning. And they're 11 hours ahead of us here. So it's fuck knows. I genuinely don't know. This is the thing. Like, they haven't really sent us the details of the local timings or anything else. Luckily, we've got good quality flights going out there. It's a 15-hour plus flight for us. But the timings work quite well for us to be able to, you know, have the day on the plane, sleep on the plane, wake up fresh and arrive in Korea in the morning. So then we've got a full day sleep. Coming home, it's gonna suck.
Yes, back to front.
Back to front coming home. But we're videoing everything. We're videoing Brad in training. I'm gonna put together like a 9-day vlog up until the point of where we leave, and that video will be going up the day we leave or the day before we leave, and then we'll vlog everything from airport to fight day, and then fight day prep. And the fight, I don't know if we're not allowed to actually film the fight. There's a clause in the contract that says it, but yeah.
I want to bump into DKU in the hotel lobby as well.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if we've got 3 days after the fight, so if he's willing to, we'd be happy to film with him as well. You know,
Well,
if the fight goes,
You
as
know,
long as he's not
and
too badly busted.
just so people know as well, if anybody actually watches the damn thing this long in, but just so you know, I invited him to be here and join in this conversation. I even invited him and said, hey, if you don't feel comfortable being on camera with them together, you're more than welcome to do this with me by yourself. I'm all about fair play. Turnabout's fair play, man. If he,
I totally agree with you.
and so when I, you know, but obviously he blocked me. And so that kind of put the
Yeah.
kibosh, but I sent him messages on my other account and he is aware that I offered. And so,
I'm going to turn to a block here.
Not
you
now.
know, at the end of the day, he's,
I'll get him to a block here.
We'll get him
I
to
mean,
unblock you.
he should unblock me because
Yeah, he
I,
should.
I'm what he's mad that I told people the truth. And so now he eventually let people know the exact same thing I was already telling people. And somehow that was offensive. You know, I don't know if you guys were aware, but I had mentioned this, I think, to you, Joe, before, is that he actually, like, right before sending you guys a message, I had somebody who follows the page send him a message, and they were basically alluding to being a fight promoter. And so they sent a message and they were like, hey, what would you think about fighting? Who would you like to fight or whatever? And the Tito Ortiz's name came up and he was like, yeah, we can offer like $5,000. And I was like, dude, Tito
That's
Ortiz isn't going to take a shit for less for that much money. And so like,
Yeah.
But what
Well, he
that
got
did
paid.
was,
Spends on his toilet paper.
Yeah.
yeah, you know, it's,
Didn't he get paid $500,000 to lose to Anderson Silva?
yeah, it blows my mind. But at the end of the day, what that proved to me was the fact that he did not have a backup opponent. He was scrambling at the very last minute and shows a complete lack of understanding how the fight game works. And I think that he's going to learn very well on the day of the fight. He's going to understand how this game works very, very quickly. And it's not when the bell rings and the lights go up, it's just you and the other person. And so all that bullshit, all that bravado.
Very, very lonely.
That is honestly my worst nightmare, is hearing that ding and seeing him coming at me. Like, he's one of my best mates. I love him like a brother. But when he's standing in front of you, even hitting pads, it's like, wow, that was really, really close to my face, and I would have died if that had hit. And I would hate for him to actually throw one. It's not fair. Like, I've been training underneath him and others of same kind of level for best part of a decade now, really, right? And it's a whole nother level of fear. Like, and learning how to control that fear takes years in itself.
Well, let's
This is his first go.
And this is his first go, and he's going to be coming at him. That is a scary, scary thing.
Yeah, that's like, the only thing I can think of is complete narcissism would allow somebody to do that to themselves, is that he really does believe in his heart that there is an opportunity there. And to me, that's the scariest part, is because people follow that. And so if he's willing to convince himself of some utter lie, then that means he's probably lying to his followers, and he's probably telling people a bunch of bullshit anyway. So I do want to kind of end on a note here. And I figured how we can end is, give you guys like a quick couple sentences or whatever. If you had something that you would like to say directly to DK Yoo, this would be a good opportunity for that. And so, I'll guess I'll go to you, Joe, first, and then I'll go to you, Brad. And then I think that'd be a good exclamation point at the end of the interview. So, Joe, if you had, let's say you had just a minute, you had to say one thing to DK Yoo, what would it be?
Where do you buy your red Nike t-shirts from? Because that's all he wears. He must literally be. Have you seen the new Ryan Reynolds movie, Free Guy?
Yeah,
he walks up to his wardrobe and he's got only the same color clothes. That's DK Yoo. Literally, red shirt, red shoes. Nice. That's it.
That's it. All right, Brad, you're up.
But me, I keep hearing your fans saying DK Yoo would beat you in the street because of street rules. Well, let's make it street rules.
Brad's happy to take the gloves off.
I'm happy to take the gloves off, going strikes, eye gougers, a lot. Finger in the ass, everything.
Yeah, oil check.
Hey, good old oil check. That's my favorite technique.
Yeah.
It works until it doesn't work. And then when it doesn't work, it's a little concerning who you're fighting at that point,
When you hear